your inner potential isn't easy, but it's simple. We'd love to help you get there at last. Come join the transformative journey to holistic health on the Pure Power Podcast. Oh, let's start the show.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. Brandon here with the Pure Power Podcast, your pathway to more presence, productivity, prosperity, and purpose in your life. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'm excited to share my spiritual experience with you. So back in 2005, I was preparing for a leadership conference. This is when I was still at chiropractic school. I went to Palmer College of Chiropractic. That's located in Davenport, Iowa, good old Quad Cities, USA, right on the Mississippi. So it was Iowa and Illinois, and then two cities on each side. So Davenport, Iowa, and what's unique about Davenport is that's where Dr. Palmer was from. And Dr. Palmer was the first original chiropractor. And the first chiropractic adjustment had cured a man's deafness. That's how the whole chiropractic profession got started. Well, I was in my third year, just almost done, complete my fourth year at chiropractic school. And I've been involved with the Student American Chiropractic Association. And I was president at the time. And I was part of a committee that was in charge of organizing a leadership conference at another chiropractic school. This one happened to be at Parker University in Dallas. So we were preparing and planning for months before this event. Well, I made my way down to Dallas, and before the night before the leadership conference, myself and other chiropractic students who were on the leadership committee preparing for this event had gotten together. Well, before we went out to meet up, my friend Ryan at the time and I, both of us went out to pre-party. And so we went out, started getting some drinks, and it was probably about an hour or two that him and I were hanging out before I met up with the other folks. Well, as the night went on and we were getting together and, really blowing off some steam, I continued to drink more. I continued to drink more. And I continued to drink more. Until the point where I don't remember what happened. I don't even remember what I did. There is a part of my memory that is forever gone. Maybe one day God will reveal to me what happened, but there is this point in time when I remember up to this point, and then I woke up. And where did I wake up? I woke up in a suburb of Dallas in somebody's backyard. I was against the concrete foundation and some bushes, like nestled in between a concrete foundation and some bushes, laying face down. I woke up and tried to get my bearings. Well, evidently I had dove over a fence, or somebody threw me over a fence. I don't know. And because I had to climb over the fence to get out of this individual's backyard. So I was like, okay, well, how about I get my cell phone and I call Ryan, call somebody. Well, I lost my cell phone. I did not have my cell phone. So keep in mind is I had just arrived on this day to Dallas, preparing for a leadership conference and unfamiliar with the area. I'm meeting up with my good friend Ryan. And then we went out later to meet up with other members of the leadership team preparing for this leadership conference. Continuing to drink until then I blacked out. Eventually I woke up. It was around 2 or 3 in the morning. Climbed over the fence out of this backyard, and I found myself walking along the highway, the interstate. I think it's I-10. Don't quote me on that, but I think that. And walking along the interstate towards the skyscrapers where I believed my hotel to be. And along this walk, it was an empty construction lot. And as I'm walking, wondering what happened last night, trying to piece it all together, trying to think, where am I staying? I'm staying at the Radisson, and trying to find my way back to the hotel room. No cell phone, unfamiliar territory. Then, as I'm walking through this empty construction lot, I feel this arm come around me and embrace me. And it was God. And he told me everything was going to be okay. He said, Brandon, alcohol is no longer part of your life. You see, I come from a family of alcoholics. My dad's a recovering alcoholic. He is 42 years sober. My brother, he quit drinking alcohol about 6 months before this experience that I had. Others in my family, the disease of alcoholism. So I'm walking through this abandoned construction lot and I feel this arm around me, and it was God. God was there. God provided peace in my pain. He said, Brandon, alcohol is no longer part of your future. We have big things to do here. And that will disrupt the direction I have you going. And I thank God for showing up that night. There was this peace that didn't make sense. There was this calm presence that didn't make sense. But it was God helping me, waking me up, and letting me know that everything was going to be okay. That my run with alcohol was over. And that wasn't the end of my life. That the possibility of a greater life, more fun, more presence, more power, more productivity, more connection, authentic connection. So I realized that a lot of my friends at chiropractic school, we were friends because one thing we had in common, we would drink. So ended up having this experience, making my way eventually to the hotel room. I was walking through the construction site and I found myself going into a 7-Eleven asking, where's the Radisson? And they said to me, which one? So we had to figure that out. Eventually I made it back. Ryan was there. He was very gracious. Brandon, go to sleep. We'll talk about it in the morning. Well, when we wake up in the morning. It was already morning. And then I'll never forget Ryan chewing my ass out of love. Reminding me the pain that my decisions and my behavior was causing somebody else, and somebody who cares deeply about me. About having to walk down the alleys, look in the dumpsters, call the police, but the police wouldn't do anything because I wasn't missing for more than 24 hours. all the fear, the worry, anxiety, the stress, the anger. And it was a wake-up call. And I appreciate it. And I love you, brother. Thank you for being there and saying your truth and what needed to be said. And I knew my time with drinking was over because God was there. And there was this spiritual awakening to his presence. A peace that passes understanding. So I don't know where you're at as you're listening to this. I don't know if you struggle with addiction. I know that more people today are stressed out more than ever before. Modern life is unnaturally stressful. The stress comes in many forms. It can be chemicals. It can be toxins. It can be mental stress. It can be physical stress, combination of all those stressors. A lot of people today are hurting, and a lot of people are looking for comfort in their pain. They're looking to ease the pain. So what was I doing with alcohol? It was sedating. It was an opportunity for me to blow off some steam, to relieve myself of all the stress that I was going through associated with chiropractic school at the time and all the pressures and demands. And that culturally it was okay to be going out and doing these type of things. But it wasn't until I stopped drinking and went out with others and watched their drinking pattern that I recognized that my drinking pattern and habits and behaviors around alcohol were abnormal. They seemed normal to me, but they were abnormal. I couldn't understand how we go out to lunch and Ruby Tuesdays had 2 for Tuesdays and somebody would just order a beer and not even finish it. I thought that was abnormal. But come to find out, that's normal. That's a normal reaction that people have in response with alcohol. You have a little bit, you get this feeling on the inside, and your body shuts off from that. You don't want it anymore. Well, mine had an opposite reaction. It was craving more and more and more. And there was never, ever going to be enough. And as the stress and the pressure mounted, the increase of the alcohol consumption went up. So I learned that some of our greatest pain leads us on a path to power, leads us on a path of discovery, it leads us to the presence with God. So how about you in your life? Are you addicted to something, someone, some substance? Are you struggling and don't know where to turn? Is it alcohol that you're sedating with? Wine, beer, hard liquor? For me, it was, well, I'll just drink the beer because I can control myself more with that. And then when I got into the hard liquor and started mixing, I wasn't so much of a wine guy, but when I got into the harder stuff, it just kept flowing, kept flowing, kept flowing. And there was no stop. Until then, I drank so much that I blacked out. And then I took off running. And I ended up in some stranger's backyard, face down, next to the cement or concrete foundation and a bush in their yard. Thankfully, I thank God to this day. Thank you, God, for the spiritual awakening, the spiritual experience, and understanding that I am powerless over alcohol. But isn't it amazing that once we admit that we're powerless over something, that we find true power, pure power? So alcohol, drugs, legal, illegal, gambling, porn, food, social media, the news, TV, shopping, work? Is there some addiction, knowingly or unknowingly, that you are struggling with, that has a hold of your soul, that's impacting your well-being, not only physically, but then also mentally and emotionally? Do you feel alone? I felt alone. I thought I was the only one until I was walking through the empty construction lot and God showed up. He came down to be with me, save me, let me know that everything was going to be okay. And in a moment where I should have been feeling this tremendous pain, the guilt, the shame, all of that, I felt this peace. And to this day, passes understanding. So, Dad, thank you so much for being a shining example of what living a sober life and the possibilities of living without the stronghold of addiction could be like. Thank you for taking ownership and leadership. And I know that you had your spiritual experience February 24th, 1981. And I'm honored to receive this coin every year from you. This is 17. October 22nd will be 18. I'm so glad, so grateful for this spiritual intervention. Before I became a doctor of chiropractic and responsible for helping lead many people to more health and happiness and joy and better overall well-being. The lessons I've learned along the way, I've been able to share with people over the 15 plus years of experience and add that in to their chiropractic adjustment and their wellness adjustments. Number two, I'm grateful that this happened before I was married, before I met Eros. Shouldn't have to meet that other Brandon. There had been no way I would have met Eros had I still been drinking. That's clear. Number three, dear God, I want to thank you for intervening and transforming my world before I became a dad. Cleese and Kyson don't know that, Brandon. And by God's grace, they never will. So what are you hearing in this message for you? What's showing up in this message for you? Where are you stuck? Where are you addicted? What has a stronghold over your body, over your mind, over your spirit? What are the chains that have held you and your family back for generations? Where's an opportunity for God to come in and intervene so that you may have your spiritual experience and awakening? How is this impacting your health, your body, your mind, your physical being? How's this impacting your relationships if you're married, if you have kids? How's it impacting you and your family and how you're showing up? How is this impacting your business, either your career or if you're an entrepreneur like me? How is this impacting your world in the business? Is it impacting your productivity? Is it impacting how you're showing up? And ultimately, how is this impacting you? How's this impacting the purpose that God's called you to lead? And more importantly, what are you hearing? And what are you going to do about this? Because there's something, if you're still listening to this by now, you're hearing something in this message that resonates with you. As we're launching the Pure Power podcast, God told me this was the first story for me to share, to open up about this. And all this pain, there was a possibility to turn it into power. Now I help lead myself, but help lead others. Through one day at a time, progress, not perfection, attitude of gratitude. So what I'm asking is, consider, what is the next step for you? What's the next thing? Simply, it may be continue to turn in to each one of these podcasts, each one of these episodes, and hear a message. And follow me over the next year and witness the transformation in your own life. Comment below what you're hearing. Share this with a friend or family member that you know is struggling. They're looking for a way out. They need help, but they don't know where to turn. Maybe they're finding themselves digging themselves into a deeper and deeper hole, and they're stuck. Maybe this is the message that they need to hear in order for God to step in and create a spiritual awakening to help them lead the life that they were called to lead, to live the life that they were called to live, and share it with the people that they love the most. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode. Look in the show notes to learn more. Thanks so much, and go make it a great day. God bless.